So good afternoon and welcome back to the action. We are here for the World Rules Pool Tour Event 2. This is day 2 and we're down to 16 in the main event. What a match we have for you here. This is two of the best known players on the circuit. The current world champion Jon McAllister playing the 2016 world champion Gareth Hibbott. I'm joined in commentary by Wade Borley. Afternoon, Wade, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks mate, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a cracker. Been watching a bit of Jon this all weekend. He's playing well, and obviously Hibbott just doesn't really miss anyway, does he? He's always consistent.
Yeah, Gaz, absolutely one of my favourite players to watch. I always say it whenever I see him play. He's just one of the most attacking players that you ever want to see. Just doesn't seem to have any kind of defensive shots in his well, he's got the defensive shots in his arsenal, but he just never seems to take them on. He only ever sees the aggressive options.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but also I don't think he takes wrong shots on. Like you say, he's a very, very attacking player. But on the flip side of that, you know, a lot of attacking players do take the wrong shots.
Yeah.
I don't think Gareth does.
No. And of course, just able to pop them off the chandeliers. I mean, we're talking about a guy here who a couple of years ago made back-to-back 147s in a competition, a snooker comp. So he, you know, anything on a pool table is potable, isn't it? Because I mean, if you're making 147s on a snooker table, you know, it makes everything on a pool table that much easier.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, if you watch his cue action, it's just pristine. You know, he strikes the ball so well, times it so well. So them 50-50 shots, which some people don't get, as I say, you back him to get them every time.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players that any kind of youngster looking at the game would do well to emulate Gaz. He's got a simple yet effective cue action, which is just repeatable, and his pattern play is exemplary. And of course, sorry Wade, go on mate.
Yeah, no, I was just going to agree with you there. Also, what I've noticed with Gareth as well is when you look at him when he's in his chair, you wouldn't know whether he's 10-0 up or 10-0 down.
Yeah.
You know, his demeanour around the table, it's just brilliant. So like you say, any up and young coming players, he's just a credit.
And of course, his opponent, in his little introduction, he's been world champion for just over 18 months now because of COVID, not had a chance to defend his title. But we spoke to his sponsor earlier on today in Jeff Lees. We had him on commentary for half an hour earlier, and he was talking about how he's watched Jon's career come on, and little do people know that, you know, at the different age groups, Jon's won 5 European championships and also a world championship at those youth levels. So, you know, he's got a wealth of experience for just a young man himself. No surprise to see either in the last 16, is it? And actually, looking at the last 16, when you look at it, it's almost somewhat predictable in some ways. Some of the players that are in it, you know, Neil Raybone, no shock, Dave Fernandez, England international Jack Whelan, Scott Gillespie, Aaron Davis, Clint Aronson, Phil Harrison, Tom Cousins, Adam Davis. I mean, it's just a...
I mean, if you was going to do a Premier League off the back of the World Rules Pool Tour, then that's probably your 16.
Yeah. I mean, it's incredible, actually. You know, they probably made up quite a lot of the favourites in the event, so it's been quite predictable. But also in there, you know, people like... you might not have looked at the lineup straight away and said, you know, you're going to see Jamie Fay in there, or even Jamie Stokes, but they're having great events as well.
Yeah, I know Jack Whelan I think he was 4-0 down in the last 32.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you've seen it. I looked over at him and, you know, he did look done. And he's obviously managed to pull it back round.
So we get the first look at Jon McAllister with this break, and pretty good layout, Wade.
Yeah, I think he's got one problem yellow near the red on the right hand rail, but I think if you can just drop him behind it, it goes to the left corner pocket, doesn't it?
Jon also aggressive by nature in the way he plays. Doesn't tend to go for a defensive option if he can. So both players are alike in that respect. And also Jon, a great shot maker. He just manages to see things in the game that perhaps sometimes others don't.
Yeah, he does. He pulls finishes out that you don't look like they're there. You might try and screw onto the side rail here and get on his badge yellow. No, he's tried to bring it out.
Yeah, not a lot of room, not a lot of margin for error to land behind it, but I know what you mean. It is possible to get on it, but deciding to try and move it, but needs to move it from cushion side to try and get it out, doesn't it? He doesn't want to
push it towards the black spot.
Yeah. So
he's going for the double?
Yeah, he's going to play the double. Looks pretty natural, actually.
Yeah. I think on these super fast cloths as well, if you play them a bit harder, they tend to straighten up. So that sometimes makes a double a bit easier. I think he can just stun the white, can't he? And I think the other yellow goes into the opposite middle. So,
how are you finding the cloth?
I like them.
Yeah.
They're very, very reactive.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've got a pool table at home. I've got the Strachan 861 cloth on it.
Yep.
They're nowhere near as good as this.
Yeah.
They're not.
Takes a little bit of getting used to, I imagine.
Yeah, they're a lot slidier.
Yeah.
Obviously, the 861 cloths grip, whereas these, they do slide, especially when they're new.
Yeah.
I struggle with the doubles on them as well. I've seen a lot of people miss doubles. They'll hit them a bit softer and they'll go wide.
Yeah.
But the cloths are absolutely brilliant.
And what a time to be at a pool event on Saturday afternoon. I mean, it's one of my favourite times around about now. You get into the business end of the main event. Yeah, you've got the last 16 of the main, probably into like the third and fourth round of the Open. The ladies' events ongoing, the seniors' events ongoing. They've done the draw for the blinds as well. Are you in that?
Yeah, I'm going to stay for the free man. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know you've drawn?
I've got. I'm drew with Josh Patel.
Right.
And I'm not sure about the other person.
Okay.
I only know that because Josh came up to me earlier on and says, we're together in the free man. I think Jon's took these out lovely after missing the initial cannon on the yellow.
Yeah, neither player's going to give an inch in this one.
No.
Going to ask you for your prediction.
7-6 Hibbott. I'll put it out there, 7-6 Hibbott.
Why not?
What's yours then, Nick?
I don't think you're far wrong, to be honest. I don't think you're far wrong. It could easily go all the way. I don't think there's going to be too many mistakes in it. I think it will probably come down to the break.
Yeah.
We watched Arf and Dad play earlier against Phil Harrison, and Phil was almost beating himself up on commentary, saying that he needs to improve. I interviewed him afterwards, and he says he needs to improve if he's gonna go deep in the event. He missed one ball.
That's Phil all over though, isn't it?
But Arfan didn't miss a ball, and he lost 7-5.
Yeah.
But he broke drive 4 times and went in off on one break. And he's just barely. He's not made a mistake in the match.
Well, Phil's a perfectionist, isn't he? He always has been. You know, if
one
something's
ball
2 millimeters out, he's not going to be happy.
He actually looked fantastic, and I mean, I said earlier on commentary that Greg Batten asked me this morning at breakfast who's going to beat Declan Brennan, because he just looks like a roller coaster at the moment. But obviously, he's just gone out in the last 32. Yeah. Didn't get a chance in the last frame. His opponent broke dish in the last.
Yeah.
Kind of opens it up. It was always going to be a tough field to get through for Declan, but yeah, I mean, a lot of players will be happy to see him out of the running now.
Yeah, he's the informed player at the moment, isn't he? He's just playing so well, and he's backing it up as well. So it's not just people saying he's the informed player.
It's hard to look across this field and pick anybody as a favourite. I mean, I wouldn't want to go and see the bookmaker and put any kind of money on any of them because I think it's still so open.
Yeah, I think they've got Phil Harrison as favourite now.
Yeah, Phil will be favourite. Tom's probably second favourite.
Yeah. It's another good split by Gaz here.
Just seeing Matt Briley walk over out of the room to my left-hand side, and Matt also in the last 16 had deep runs in the Ultimate Pool Challenger event as well. He's doing so well. He really is. He's hit a purple patch of form recently. Wouldn't be at all shocked to see him hitting the semi-finals and beyond. Just looking across the room, I see Craig Marsh is in action over on table 16 in the Jason Owen Open. Craig Marsh got brushed aside by Shane Thompson last night. He lost 7-2 to Shane. Just fallen slightly out of position here. He's probably, if he was just 2 inches further down the table, I think this is a formality, but
yeah,
the yellow is causing him a bit of a problem. Now he's going to have to
stop it dead, I think.
Yeah.
Play it into the top bag.
Yeah.
Back him to get this though, wouldn't you, Nick?
All day long, yeah.
If not, just give him the commentator's curse.
But I mean, when we talked about the snooker player, you know, and the 147s, you know, this is literally a black off the spot, isn't it?
Yeah, that's yeah. You back him to get 100 out of 100 of them.
Yeah.
Is that 3 first visit finishes now in this match?
It is, yeah. Very high quality stuff so far, as you'd expect from these two. Neither one giving an inch yet.
No. I mean, like we said earlier, it could come down to one miss, where somebody running out of position once.
So, up to Jon to reply. He's trying the cut break. I don't think, I haven't got any stats from this table, but I think if you looked at the stats over the weekend, I think the front ball break has probably had more success than the cut break, but, well, if you can keep doing that all weekend, you're just going to stick with the cut break, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the cut break myself on these cloths. They are very like as we spoke about earlier, they're very slidey. So if you don't catch that second ball really flush and screw into the side rail, then they don't split at all. But they've split okay, haven't they?
Just a bit.
You've got a nice angle on the yellow, just a trickle off the bottom cushion and behind the other yellow.
Yeah, I guess just a little bit thin. He's gonna have to kill the cue ball. I think it's okay.
Maybe going between the gap with the red and the black and where he's just put his cue.
Yeah. That was going to be the problem. It was, and I think that was what he was concerning himself with, was nudging that yellow. But has he come far enough? Can he still find the gap? If not, he's got the plan to top a table, but he won't want to go up there yet. He want to clear the bottom of the table if he can. Well, you can see from there, it looks like the potting angle's not there, so it's up to the top of the table for this plant.
This is tricky now because he's going to be pushing the first yellow away from the pocket.
Yeah.
And the whites are naturally going to be going towards the left-hand side of the table.
They are just off straight, as you can see.
Played that well.
Played that. Yeah, beautiful weight. Really well controlled.
It's still not easy for me though, Nick, is it?
No, he's not out of the woods. Yeah. And he needs to navigate around these two reds. I don't think he's going to try any heroics here. You could see from the way he was queuing. I think he's probably just going to leave this long. Ideally, you want to be closer to your work, don't you? You want to be you want to be further down the table, because getting from one yellow to the other at the bottom of the table is a little bit tricky. Yeah, he's just looking now. As I say, I think he'll probably just take his medicine.
Would you probably go for the gap between the red on the top cushion as we see it now? Just to get a little bit further down the table?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's just looking to stun across. And he could just get enough into the ball, but even this, that's another one. He's got to play this with drag and kill the cue ball. It's just another one of those shots that it needs really good cueing. There's one that can go wrong. Just got to really get into the cue ball, drag it. You'd love to kill it off of 2 rails, but the black's in the way. As I mentioned, the black was in the way.
Is he just off straight so he can screw back behind the black? I think he is, isn't he? I think he's landed all right. Yeah, another lovely shot by Jon there. Just going to drop this black into the corner bag, and that's 4 first visit finishes.
The standard of pool doesn't get much better than that. There's nothing to split them. There's 2 frames each. Gareth Hibbott is going to be breaking in frame number 5. Well, all going to plan at the moment for that 7-6.
Especially with Gaz on break.
You can see now there's obviously players, 250 odd players started the weekend, and now there's going to be a number of them who are already out of the Jason Owen Open, so they're relaxing for the weekend and maybe enjoying a beer or 2, and they're starting to just congregate around the table.
What a split that was, but he's got the black in.
So let's have a quick look around the other scores. Neil Raybone is currently 1 frame to 0 up on Matt Cook on table 10. Dave Fernandez 2-1 up against Jamie Fay. Jack Whelan and Scott Gillespie just getting underway. Aaron Davis has won the first frame against Jamie Stokes. Clint Iance has won the first against Phil Harrison. I mean, that could have been a final itself, couldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I fancy Clint for that one, I must admit, even though Phil is the favourite.
Yeah, Clint's been playing well this weekend for certain.
Yeah.
But, you know, Phil riding that wave from Monday night, that win he had Monday night, he said, I spoke to him, wow, Gaz. Gaz puts his hand up twice. That cue ball was going straight into the top corner bag, and somehow that yellow came around and kept out. Look at this again. It's going straight into the middle of the pocket. Oh,
I'd have put my life on that going in there when he
Look at Jon. Jon's like, oh, for goodness sake. How's that stayed out? Yeah, Tom Cousins won the first frame against Matt Briley. And Adam Davis and Steve Smart has just got underway. So we will keep a keen eye on those. In fact, I can see Matt Briley just breaking off in the second frame against Tom down on table 28. So I'll keep a keen eye on that one.
I think Jack Whelan and Scott Gillespie will be a good game.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be a very close one, I think.
I think that was another contender for the
final.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Certainly another contender for the main arena. So I think we chose the right game here in hindsight.
Yeah, well, there's not been one miss yet.
No.
4 break dishes. Is this possibly going to be a 5th one? I think he'll get these.
He may always present a bit of value in the draw is Neil Raybone. He kind of goes under the radar, kind of surreptitiously works his way through the field. No one ever mentions him, and then he suddenly pops up in the final. He's another class player, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very good, Neil. Another good cueist as well.
Yeah. obviously the IPA #1 for a couple of years running. So you've got to fancy Gaz to get these now. Who's going to blink first? Consider himself lucky after that break, but that'll be out of his mind by now. Jon might be stewing a little bit.
Might be in Jon's mind still.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if it does go to 7-6, Nick.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if it goes to 6-all and Gaz's break.
I mean, they are the key moments. These
At this level, the break's huge. You know.
Yeah, I said at the top of the show that the break could make the difference in this, and little things like that do make all the difference. But Gaz doing what he needed to do, and Jon, all he can do is just keep replying. 5 frames won in 5 visits.
All off the break as well, I think.
Yeah, Paul does not get any better than this.
What a lovely venue this is, I must say, Nick.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Neil and the team have done really well to get it here. The arena's beautiful.
I was cursing Neil when I was driving around the car park yesterday trying to find a parking space yesterday. Who on earth picks a flipping venue in the middle of London to play an event? But actually, when I walked into this arena, I thought, I can see why now.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'll just do what Steve Petty did and park in front of the doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
What another split that is. Jesus.
He is stroking this.
That cut break's really working for him.
I mean, it's more effective for him than it has been for anybody else this weekend. Arf and Dad was trying it earlier and he was having no luck with it whatsoever. But
as I say, on these super fast cloths, which are very reactive, if you don't time it right, you just won't hit it right and you won't get any balls.
Now, awkward balls for red and yellow. I mean, they split really well, but obviously the Reds have got the red on the side cushion, and that probably would dictate the fact that he's gone for yellows here. But
yeah,
yellow's not without their problems. You've got the 2 balls in the middle of the table, which they're kind of on top of one another. One doesn't go to the left.
I think once he takes the top one of the 2, that will release the bottom yellow into the bottom right corner.
All about cue ball control this clearance, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, would you take the top ball first now?
No. I think you clear away the top ball into the top right pocket now.
It just depends what angle he's got on it. We can't really see it properly from that shot, could we?
If he can just play
if he can land straight on his next ball,
maybe just a tiny bit of angle on it. If he was a bit straighter, I think he plays that one now. And then he's just got a series of simple stop shots to clear the table. But I think it's just
might have to just drop this one through and take the other yellow to middle.
Yeah.
It just makes getting on that top one a little bit awkward. If you land the wrong side.
Yeah.
That's why it's taking a bit longer to think about this one.
And these are the fractions, aren't they, that make the difference. I mean, if he was literally an inch to the left-hand side,
half a roll.
Yeah, it would just
perfect.
be
perfect. Yeah, you'd back him to get him 100 times, but
should still. But it just, as I say, you always know when players just out of position because he's having to give it that bit of thought, and there you see it.
That's not great. No,
his shoulders have slumped because now he's on the cushion. He can't control the ball in the way. The issue was always, I mentioned right at the start of the frame, these 2 yellows, because the one closest to us doesn't go into the bottom left pocket, he's restricted on what he can do. And now he's near the cushion, he can't get back for them both in that right centre. So it just needs a bit more care and attention now. A little bit more tricky than it perhaps needed to be.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how straight he is onto that one into the middle bag. There we go. Looks like he's really straight. Could you possibly jack your cue up and just bring it back maybe half an inch?
Yeah.
I mean, these boys are the best. It will go the right way.
I think
Take the bottom one of the two.
He is taking the bottom one, which does make it a lot trickier because he's going to have to send the cue ball around. Oh, hasn't he played this well?
And he's got the angle there. That is absolutely plumb.
How well has he judged this? And didn't, I mean, it was just a natural angle for the cue ball to run around as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, it's fantastic.
But then if one of us would have played that, would have gone into the red and gone into the corner bag. That would have been the new natural angle.
I reckon you'd have found your way around them, Wade. I guarantee you I'd have gone into the red and then off, but I reckon you're right. You've been playing some good stuff recently, though. I mean, since those lockdown games, and gave you a lot of kind of competitive practice at home, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I only started playing again just before the first lockdown, actually. So I was really enjoying it. And then with the lockdown coming, I didn't have anything to play in. So during the first lockdown, I built my shed with a pool table, as you've seen.
Yeah. Because you had a 6-foot table before that, didn't you?
I had a 6. Wow, it wasn't mine. I bought it for my missus. It was a dining table what I put in the front room for her. That's what I said anyway. But yeah, and then we moved house and had a big garden, so she said to me just to build one.
I can imagine that conversation. Look, I bought you a new dining table.
Well, it was.
Oh, look, it's a pool table as well. I never noticed that.
Well, I actually texted her when she was at work and said, I bought you a new dining table, I hope you like it. Then she come back and, yeah, she wasn't best pleased. But yeah, the lockdown matches and lockdown competitions. Was this our first dry break?
It is. It is.
We said it could be decided on a dry break or one missed ball.
So what have we had? Six from the break. Now,
Six break dishes, yeah.
And the first dry break.
And as we said about the missed balls coming into play, that dry break there is just like a missed ball to these top players.
Yeah. But do you know what? I don't think he'll be. I mean, there's some times when you have a dry break and you look at the table and think this is frame over, but actually, when you look at this layout, I wonder. I guess Jon's chosen reds here because the red on the top cushion, he can play that off the yellow and clear that pocket.
Yeah.
So, I guess in hindsight, probably fancy him for these.
Well, to some people, this may look like it's not on, but as you just said, as you can see from the overhead there, there's just enough room to push that red onto the yellow, not the yellow out the way for the other red. So it's not actually as difficult as it looks. It's just down to that one shot.
Yeah, and where that red goes.
Yes.
When he knocks the yellow out, because the yellow's inevitably going to go into the red. So.
You need to play it with a bit of pace to make sure he gets the yellow out.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably see him just run through the gap or maybe into the yellow half ball on the left-hand side.
I think he can come back out to kind of where he was to leave this. I mean, and he's managed to get the yellow out without going into the red, which is even more of a bonus. And now suddenly, just that one fairly simple shot has opened the frame up. So what looked like it may be a bit of a tricky clearance, actually he's made it really simple.
Yeah, and there's a difference as well, Nick. Like I just said about playing it with a bit of left-hand side and coming through the gap, I would have probably played that. That's why I'm up here out the competition and he's there still finishing these off. These top players, they play the right shots every time.
Yeah. I think it's great being up here though, because you get a different perspective, and when you see the players going about their patterns, like it just next time you're at the table you think, well, actually, is that the right way to play it? And you start to be able to question your game.
Yeah, I mean, you learn a lot by watching the top players. You really do. The routes, the patterns, certain shots, the cue action, the mannerism around the actual table itself.
So we mentioned about the break being the difference, and there we are. Now suddenly Jon goes ahead by 1 frame. There have been 7 frames played and 6 breaking dishes and 1 reverse dish. Dave Fernandez 4-1 up against Jamie Fay. Neil Raybone, Matt Cook game, I'm not sure whether that's just not refreshing. Maybe they haven't moved the score on, but that has been 1-0 for an infinity. It's maybe they are playing in the middle of a tactical frame, but it's not Neil Raybone's style.
What's table 28?
Matt Briley's on 28, just breaking off. So Matt now is, having lost the first frame, is 2-1 up against Tom Cousins, and he's just broken off in the 4th frame. And it looks like he's got a half decent layout as well. So, and ironically, Jon McAllister breaks off, and it's his turn for a dry break
as well. Yeah.
How incredible is it the way?
Could it be another swing? Another swing in Gaz's favour? I mean, look at these yellows.
Yeah, assuming the yellow on the left-hand side passes into the left middle, which I'm fairly certain
it does.
It does, yeah. So this should be fairly plain sailing. Yeah, you can see there that it does. This will not present any problems.
No. I think same yellow again. Yellow into the top right as we look. And there we go with the patterns. I mean, look at these. He's got 4 balls to roll in.
Yeah. What I love about Gaz's play, it's so uncomplicated. He's so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you don't class him as you know, when you think about the fast players like Sean Chipperfield and people like that, Darren McVickers, you never really class Gaz as that kind of pace, but he really is up there. I mean, he just takes seconds over every shot. There's no histrionics. He doesn't walk around the table and look at the next shot and the next angle. He just knows that if he hits an area, he's going to pot the ball. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, I think with Gareth, he takes his time to work out his routes, and once he's chosen his routes, then he goes. And because his routes are that good, you know, he very rarely runs out of position. Jack Whelan,
they are literally trading blow for blow. Break dish, 3 each, and then 2 dry breaks.
Reverse
dish. Yeah, Scott Gillespie 2-0 behind.
Are we dry or are we potting?
No, he's potting this time. It's his turn to pot. You're not going to see 2 dry breaks. He absolutely powers that break. Don't let me down, Gaz. Right. There we go. Knew he wasn't going to let me down. I was confident then, don't worry about that.
Table 18, Glenn Hannibal, Alex Bailey.
So, you probably could make a case for either, but...
I was just thinking the same.
I mean, if you look at it, there's almost some symmetry here that the yellows have both got a ball over the pocket. The yellow and reds have both got a ball over the pocket. The red you've got tied up on the side rail. The yellow you've got tied up on the top rail. Both balls have got their problems.
As we said earlier, though, he's a very attacking player, and I don't think he's on an easy starter on reds. So I think that might be.
Yeah, and that's I think that's going to be the key, that he doesn't have that easy starter where he does on yellows. And straight away,
I think he needs to be looking at going up to the top of the table and clearing that as soon as possible.
Yeah. So he's going to deal with one of the problems now. He needed to take the ball into the middle early to open up the path for the other one. But as you say, probably needs to get up the table because he's got that stray ball, and nobody wants to have that stray ball, do they? You want to play areas, because having a stray ball means you've got to transition up the table and back down again. I guess the good thing is there's not a lot of reds through the middle of the table, so he's got the area to be able to manoeuvre backwards and forwards.
Yeah. I mean, that last frame, he didn't really have to move the white at all. His last 4 or 5 shots, as we spoke about. Whereas this, it's a very different finish. He's having to move the white around.
And the problem now, he's got the yellow ball at the top of the table in the middle of the cushion, the yellow ball at the bottom of the table in the middle of the cushion, and there's only these 3 balls to get on either one of them. Only these 3 balls on the right hand side. So now this is a little bit tricky.
He's running out of balls to get on that one as well. Like you say, you don't want to be going up there last. I mean, could he possibly plant this yellow and find the gap?
I was just thinking the same myself. Well, he's running out of options here. He's obviously got a plan in mind. Well,
I think he's too straight there to get up.
Yeah, a little grimace on his face. That's about as much as you ever get out of Gareth Hibbott. But you saw him just purse his lips slightly.
It's like we said, you don't want to be leaving that yellow until last ball. And now he's fairly straight on that and not got a decent angle. He's going to have to leave it till last ball, I think. If he can land on this side cushion straight.
Oh, that's no good.
No, he's under hit that by maybe 3 foot, 2 foot.
Well, I mean, he's left the double. Can he play the double and then just, one of those shots where you just put tons of right-hand side on the cue ball and send it off 2 cushions to the top of the table? I think that's a bit of a forlorn ask, to be honest. There is a fair bit of angle. I really don't see what else he's got. I mean, it looked like there he was lining up to play the double off the red to give himself even more angle to get around the table. That's exactly what he played. That is exactly what he played.
And there's our first miss of the match.
Yeah. The 9th frame before anybody missed a ball. And, well, I mean, can you class that as a miss? It's not really a miss in open play, is it? He's just missed a really tough double. And he wasn't even trying to play the double straight in. He was trying to play it off of another ball. Crazy standard. I reckon the scoreboard's broken on that Neil Rayburn game, because it still says 1-0.
Table 10, whereabouts
Well,
is
I can see nils at the table in the middle of a clearance, so some of these games, well, I mean, Neil started at the same time as this, and we played 8 frames, and they're still on 1 according to the scoreboard.
Clint Jansen and Phil Harrison are locked 2-all each. Matt Brearley's 3-1 up against Tom Cousins.
Yeah, but Tom just about to make it 3-2. So Matt did break and dish that last frame. Adam Davis now 2-0 against Steve Smart.
Steve Smart being another good player that just pops up at the end of tournaments. You don't really hear a lot about him, and then you'll just see him. Quarterfinals.
He's got a money match coming up soon as well, I think.
Who's he playing?
It's Connor Tracy, I think. No. Oh, I can't remember now. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Connor Tracy.
How much are they playing for?
Unknown pot at the moment, not agreed. Playing on 18th of September, race 25 in Swindon.
50 quid a man?
Yeah, maybe.
So Nick, what do you do with this ball on the rail? Do you try and land on it or just land on the double?
Yeah, I think the Yeah, he's
played that well.
could target that yellow, couldn't he? Which gave him a little bit of a margin for error.
I think if he screwed into it half ball, though, he could have rolled behind the red and landed on nothing. So he's played it really well.
Yeah.
Lovely pace. It's okay, he's a left-hander, isn't he? Not be leaning over the black, but if you're right-handed. Lovely shot.
So again, Jon McAllister is going to take the lead. And again, he'll take the lead against the serve.
Come on then, Nick. I'm going to ask you who's winning it from here, the whole event.
That's tough. Do you know, if Clint gets through against Phil, I mean, he's going to have a tough game next up. It looks like it'll probably be against Aaron Davis, but I mean, there are no easy run-ins now.
Nah, there's no easy draws.
Clint Aronson from the bottom half, and I'm going to say the winner of this game. That's the two finalists. Winner of this game and the winner of the Clint against Phil Harrison game. So,
I picked Clint out in the last 1-8.
yeah.
He was 20-1. I think he's now 7-1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good shout. Mind you, they're 3 each.
Yeah.
Phil's just won the next frame and they're 3 apiece.
Jack Whelan's gone 3-0 up against Scott Gillespie. Jamie Fay's pulled one back against Dave Fernandez. That's 4-3 to Dave.
Yeah, Jamie's having a great weekend. A very capable player, but not someone you'd look down the field to start with and say, "There's what are the lads you're going to see in the last 16, last 8."
Oh, they fixed the scoreboard. Neil Raybone's now 2-0 up. Must have been a tactical for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Suddenly, the break drying up for both players. And Jon, well, he'd be fuming. But having said that,
He's going, yeah.
Opening with the plant by the look of it.
Yeah, it's a tough shot though. I mean, the cue board's very close to the red.
Yeah, it is a tough shot, but actually, when you look at the layout of the table, you kind of think it's the key to the frame, isn't it? If he gets it,
he wins the frame.
Yeah,
yeah. And on the flip side, though, Nick, if he
misses
doesn't get
it, it's a pressure ball. Jamie Fay just levelled things up at 4 each now against Dave Fernandez.
Was Dave 4-1 up? Was he there?
Yeah.
Must admit, I like the tour tops. You can see in the background there.
Yeah,
most of the
good.
players, they look great.
Kerr's given this a lot of attention. It's not a gimme plant, especially when you're this close to them. It's really hard to pick the angle.
You can see in his face, I don't think he wants to take it, but he's forced into it.
Does he? I mean, can he not?
Oh, what a shot.
I mean, I absolutely see why he played it. I think lesser players and possibly club players would have said, do you know what, I want to be on yellows and I'm going to take the one
over the
long,
corner bag,
the one long over the corner bag just to be on them. But then you're still left with the problem yellow at the top of the table.
Yeah.
He's addressed it and now his favourite for the frame. Oh my goodness me. Wow, that is not a ball you ever expect him to miss.
Not after getting the plant.
Wow.
I mean, with him missing it, you can say he's been a tad bit fortunate by holding it over the bag.
Yeah. But I wonder if can a ball squeeze past it? I mean, it looks. Look at that. I reckon it's one of those. If you had a ball close to it, you could probably power it through the gap. But from where they are, maybe the one to the left of the
Possibly.
table, you might just be able to punch it into that gap. But
As I was saying to you earlier about the cloths being slidey, and also the cushions are slidey,
yeah,
you may be able to squeeze it past at pace because it might slide off the corner of the knuckle / cushion.
yeah. But this is. It's just.
You might see him.
There's a smelly clearance anyway, isn't it? He's got the red tied up next to the yellow in the middle of the table.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only pot he's got on is the red to the top right corner.
Yeah.
But the white's going into the cue ball. It could go into the top left corner, you know. Sorry, the cue ball's going into the red.
Yeah.
It's hard to judge where it's going. Just played it safe.
Yeah, played it safe. Try and tie up the ball on the left-hand side rail, and he's trying to cover up this cluster at the bottom of the table. I think maybe just left Gaz that corridor, and he's failed to tie up the ball on the left side rail as well. So that was a tricky leave that Jon had there. You can understand why he's playing the percentages, but I think we're going to see Gaz pull the trigger again. I think he has to, doesn't he?
Don't think he has an option, to be honest.
No. And it is it's just not a nice table. It's not a nice opening shot. He can play it, but what can he do with the cue ball? The cue ball's gonna hit the.
I think if he goes for this yellow in the bottom left corner, he might be able to power it through, quarter ball off the yellow next to it, and go back up. You see the gap with the red and the left cushion?
Yeah.
Up for the yellow into the top left corner. I think he's going to be tucking up here.
Oh, I don't know. This is Gareth Hibbott. I mean, he has the pot along. He's got the pot along the bottom rail. He doesn't tend to naturally. I mean, you could be right, but I just don't think he's got it. It's just. I don't want to say he's not got it in his game, but it just doesn't enter his thoughts. His natural tendencies are always to take the aggressive option.
Nope.
So rarely ever goes for a safety.
And there's the difference again, like we say with these top players, and maybe the club player would have, or even the average tour player would have rolled up behind that.
And in all honesty, I think there's other players, like maybe even, there's some more conservative players in the field who would have taken that option. But Gaz is always backing himself to make the clearance. It just feels that he can pot them from anywhere. So
is he straight on this?
No, he's not quite straight. He's just off straight the wrong way.
The wrong way, yeah. This is it's not easy now.
No, it's not.
I was looking at the gap there, but even if he does land in the gap here,
I think he may need to. He can jack up. I think he's coming down table. I think he has
he's have to
pot the one through the gap, unless he feels it is just straight enough to jack up and hold the cue ball.
Just sneaked in there.
Yeah. Great camera work from George. Showing us that angle.
Must have read my mind.
Oh, beautifully held off the bottom rail as well. How good is this? Beautiful.
So Gareth pots that black, taking it to 5 apiece, all locked up again.
What a strange game. Somehow found our way to 5 each with, I think Jon's going to feel a bit annoyed because, Gaz is the one he had that first dry break, almost had the in off the break, the first person to miss a ball. You know, I think Jon might be sat in his chair thinking, "Do you know, this could be over already."
Yeah, I think Gareth will be feeling the better out of the two.
Yeah.
But
oh, what a break this is! Absolutely crunched that front ball. What a break! I mean,
Jon's just looking.
you talk about timing of look at that. Just the ball's just burst open.
Ball's burst open. The cue ball straight back up the centre of the table onto the top rail.
Hey, breaks don't get any better than that.
No, that's the perfect break. A little shake of the head by Jon there. You going yellows or you going reds, Nick?
I'm going reds.
You going reds?
Yeah. Yeah, Gaz will probably go yellows, but I like the way that I guess the only thing is that the red to the bottom right doesn't link with anything.
Yeah.
But
I'm not.
and that's why he's gone after it straight away. So always, if you've got a stray ball, we talked about it earlier when Gaz had one stray ball at the top of the table, it ended up causing him a problem. But if you've got that stray ball, you just need to go after it as early as possible. And he needs this to come. Wow.
He didn't land too good
No.
on it. He needed to be straighter.
He's been a little bit fortunate there, to be honest.
Yeah.
Again, Jon's going to be churning inside because that could have so easily gone wrong.
And again, ABC.
So it's Gareth Hibbott who is going to get to the hill first. He needs this red and the black to get to 6 frames and put the pressure firmly back onto Jon McAllister's shoulders. And Jon knows that he can make no more mistakes. Not that he's barely made any mistakes so far. He's barely put a foot wrong. I think Gaz has missed two.
Has Jon missed a ball? I don't think he's actually missed a ball, has he?
I don't think he has.
No.
I don't think he has. Gaz has missed 2, and I don't think Jon's missed the ball.
No. Just the breaks, I think.
Just a couple of dry breaks. Yeah, 2 dry breaks.
Adam Davies, 5-1 up against Steve Smart now.
Yeah,
Very good player, Adam is.
yeah, Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
Needs this one to come off. Oh, he's potted a ball, but he didn't really seem to connect those very well. I don't think he quite caught. You could even hear it in the sound of the balls. Yeah, maybe just not quite flush on that second ball. Just seemed to hit it just to the side slightly, and as a result, he's not got the force through the pack. And now you've got this huge cluster of balls in the middle of the table.
Yeah, and as I've just seen on that replay then as well, when the balls did start to move, they all seemed to just all cannon each other and just stop dead.
Yeah.
So a tricky leave for Jon now, especially at 6-5 down. As you said, one miss and could be curtains.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to go reds. I think he's going to cut this red into the bottom right.
Do you know what? This wouldn't be so bad if that red at the top of the table wasn't blocking the red next to the black going in that top corner bag.
So it looks like he can probably play one to middle, then leave an angle on the other one to come across and stun into the...
He's just had a look at that red there into the top bag.
Yeah.
Might be looking at clearing them and then taking that red into the top corner. I don't think he wants to be playing into it, do you? I think he's asking for a bit of trouble, isn't he?
The problem with trying to cannon no matter what you do, the black is going to go towards the 2 yellows and almost certainly going to get tied up.
Yeah.
So if he can find a way to play this without the cannon, then he will. But
I mean, playing cannons, things can go wrong. I'm a firm believer in, if it doesn't need to be moved, don't move it.
Yeah, I agree. I've been preaching that all weekend. So many people try and move balls off the side rails when actually they could just land on them.
If you land on them right, they're as easy as this red which John's on now.
Yeah.
You know.
So yeah, clear this ball to the top left and it clears the path for the other red next to the black. I think you're right. He'll do everything he can to avoid cannoning the black, but the problem is, even when if you land on the red in such a way on the left hand side, you know, can you avoid moving the black? Maybe.
I'm not sure. I mean, if that yellow above the black now wasn't in the way, I'm pretty sure he'd be going into it, because he's got a good angle and you are pushing it away then.
Yeah.
And you've got the red over the left centre bag. But I honestly don't know whether... I mean, do you leave that red till last next to the black? I mean...
He's on it, but as I said earlier, is it possible to pot it and not move the black? I mean, I think even now you're running into the black. You're going to nudge it across.
I think he can soft screw into the yellow just below the black, but that doesn't help him on his next shot.
No. This is awkward.
Could you possibly play the red into the top right corner, soft screw into the yellow, and then red into the left centre, and run it round the table right hand side? You know, top cushion, top right cushion, bottom left cushion, and you've got a bit of an area there as long as you don't land straight.
I think that's all he's got, to be honest, Wade. I don't.
Unless you play this with top and try and push the black past the yellow.
No.
Well, there we go.
All too tricky. You can't blame him for that, to be honest, because it was horrible.
I think possibly at 0-0, he may possibly go for them, because as we were saying at the start, you know, these players are both attacking. It's 6-5 down, first to 7, last 16 of the World Rules Tour. No, it's not worth it for him. If he misses that, then he's out of the competition.
I think it's a great percentage shot there, just to put the pressure back on Gaz and say, okay, you do something. And what Gaz needs to do here is just make sure he doesn't split up that red and black. Avoid at all costs. And people talk about the international rules, and this is why I kind of like because, you know, Gaz could, you know, just come off the side cushion and maybe leave it nice and safe, tucked up on the 2 yellows up here. But in the international rules, you have to hit a cushion. Yeah. So I kind of like that, and it kind of takes that away from you.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, when I played the international rules at Stoke a couple of weeks back, that was the first time I've played them. I played them once in practice before that, and I did like them. Yeah. Although, because I've not got experience with them, I remember in one of the matches, I played a shot and I went back to my seat and thought, I can't lose this frame. And then I've come back to the table 30 seconds later, and I'm like, I can't win. So I need to touch upon the rules a little bit myself.
It's a different mindset. It's just a different mindset over how you leave a table. I mean, for me, you know, putting a ball over a pocket is no good, but actually, you can use the safety to your advantage. You can kind of put blocker balls in, so they're like 3 or 4 inches away from the pocket, but it's blocking some of your opponent's balls, because then it stops them from playing that kind of loss of turn shot.
Yeah, I do like them. I think it's better for the attacking side. You know, it's not going to you're not going to have too many tactical frames in that. And if you do, the tactics are to pop, you know, pot.
Yeah, I think Gaz just looking at running off the side of the 2 yellows. Just wondered a couple of times here whether he can just play off the side rail and play the
top yellow of the 2.
The top yellow of the 2. Just sit on the side of it.
Which
doesn't really leave anything. What he doesn't want to do is just play a one cushion escape and then give Jon some kind of angle to develop the black and red from that side of the table. He wants to force Jon to attack it from the kind of left side of the table. Yeah, I think he was trying to get that yellow in the mix. There wasn't much he could do there, to be honest. And you wonder now, has Jon got an angle to
screw into it? Maybe?
Yeah, pop the one over the pocket and screw through that gap. It's threading the needle. You can see the line there. It looks like he can get through to that. The only problem is if he hits it full, he may not be left with another shot because he might be tied up. He's looking at it a slightly different way, just maybe playing the plant with and coming up through the gap that way.
Yeah, I think that's the way I'll be playing. Just coming off the side cushion with a bit of bottom left to flick up. You know, I think half ball on the black is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, push the black over towards, well, just past the yellow, over the middle bag. Opens up the red next to it, and you'll land on, a choice of reds.
I don't know if Gaz just ended up kind of running out of ideas. He seemed to play a bit of a nothing shot
maybe
there.
saying, yeah, have a go.
Yeah. I think I'd have rather, seen him maybe either run off the side of the two yellows and leave the cue ball at the top of the table, but either way, this is the key shot.
Oh, don't want to go on the cushion? No, that's fine.
That is fine. The only issue is the black. So the black...
So he's hit it, he's coming to it full ball there, as opposed to, well, we see the replay, if he hit it half ball, he'd have got more movement on the black, and the red won't have come quite as far over the table.
So the black was horrible. It only really pots to the...
Top right corner.
Yeah, it can go top right. I mean, there is a gap between the yellows where he could land to play it into the left middle, but that's horrible.
I think...
And there's no ball to get there anyway.
No, I think he'll be taking the red to the bottom right corner, red to the left middle, and leaving an angle on the red to the right middle to maybe drop into the yellow full ball.
Yeah.
Possibly.
I mean, land on the black to the top corner.
Yeah.
I
think any kiss other than bottom side of the yellow, and I think he's on, a 10 times out of 10 shot. I mean, has he got an angle now, Nick, to pop the red into the corner bag, play it with a bit of top left, and knock the black out?
Nudge the black up.
I don't think he's got quite enough angle, has he?
Oh.
That answers that one then.
Yeah, but now it just makes it slightly more awkward because he's going to have to play this and run through for the red into the middle. Then, depending on how he lands, maybe restricted on how he can land on the black. He needs to take some care and attention over this now. He runs through, so it's kind of where we were a second ago in talking about targeting this yellow below the black, and then potting the black up into the top right corner.
I'm just wondering whether he can play this hard enough to get through the gap, through between the black and the yellow on the right cushion. But honestly, you can't understand how tough these are on these slidey.
I guess there's a bit of a margin for error, because if he comes in and hits the yellow, he'll have it to top left, and if he comes through the gap, he's got it to the middle.
That absolutely perfect. What a shot that is!
Brilliant. As I say, tiny margin for error. He couldn't go high, but he could have come just slightly lower. If he lands on the yellows, then he would have had the black to top left. But that was brilliant.
I mean, we can see these shots.
Yeah.
Playing them might be a different story.
Well, there we go.
Hill.
6 apiece. Gaz has got the break in the last.
Said 7-6.
Oh, yeah. Is your prediction going to come true? It's going to be all about this next break. Look at that. I mean, he's literally, if he'd have brushed the black there, it would have been disaster, because he would have brushed it and pushed it into the yellow and probably had no shot. So he played that really well.
Neil Rayburn's 5-0 up against Matt Cook now. Dave Fernandez 6-5 up against Jamie Fay.
Matt Cook, the man who put Declan Brennan out. So
Tom Cousins is now 5-4 up against Matt Braley. Looks like there's been some cracking games, Nick, in this last 16.
yeah,
Right.
all about this break. Most important shot of the match so far.
He's absolutely crunched them. Is it dry? It's dry.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Well, what can you do? Sometimes.
See, there we go. What I said at the start of the match, you look at Gareth and you don't know whether it's 10-0 up or 10-0 down. They've just done a close-up of him there.
Yeah.
You know, it's just probably at one of the best breaks of the weekend. He's come up dry at 6-all and he still looks the same. I assure you, it won't be feeling that way though inside, will you?
No. I mean, the Reds look lovely, don't they? He's going to deal with his only problem on the very first shot. Left himself a lovely angle to develop his hard ball, and suddenly it's pretty much a gimme.
So John's just taking his time here to work out his routes. To work out the easiest way. I think once he's worked it out, you won't see the white ball moving much here.
It's hard to see where this one's going to go wrong. I think the writing's on the wall for Gaz. And,
Yeah, he's taking his time here. I think he's just a little bit concerned about that yellow. What the cue ball is closest to now.
yeah. I think for Gaz, he kind of takes the pragmatic approach about it. He just thinks, well, I hit a good break. I didn't make a ball. I mean, what can you do? Just take it on the chin.
Yeah.
He's one of those kind of characters, actually. He'll just walk away and say, well, there you go. Nothing you can do.
These top boys, it swings in roundabouts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think we might see him. Do you think we'll see him bypass this red on the left now and go and keep that till his last ball? I think he will.
Yeah.
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 'Cause you can't fail to get on the black. Keeping that till your last ball, can
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah, it should be simple. I mean, short of a kick or a deceleration or something, some kind of miraculous mistake, then
Yeah, I think just
this is
soft screw this into the top left and then the other red into the opposite top corner. Yeah, he's played that lovely angle just to soft stun down the table. Anything straight. Can't see it going wrong from here though, Nick.
no, he's perfect.
And this is what we say about these top boys making everything look so easy. You know, the cue ball on an absolute string, it's hardly moved. And there we go.
He's actually grimaced there, but I mean, probably just because he's got that kind of nasty angle that could take you towards the yellow, but he could just pinch his back and he's absolutely fine.
Screw it back an inch.
Yeah. As I say, there was a little grimace on his face when he left that, because if he'd have been a bit straighter, it was a formality, but I think it is anyway. He's probably just being ultra critical of himself. So you could just stand across and do that. Brilliant performance from Jon McAllister, and take nothing away from Gareth Hibbott. I mean, he really has done very little wrong. I think he's missed Missed one ball.
Yeah, one ball and absolutely brilliant game.
That was fantastic stuff. So we're going to go down and have a few words with Jon McAllister in the interview room. Thanks for joining me, Wade. That was great fun. Enjoyed that match,
mate. It was a nice game to come and sit up here with you.
Certainly was, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So the action from the quarterfinal gets back underway. Well, they're straight back on actually. Quarterfinals start at 5:30, so that looks like that's going to be the next set of matches. So, yeah, we'll look forward to it. Gareth Hibbott, the first man through. He's going to play the winner of Jack Whelan. Sorry, Jon McAllister, first man through. He's going to play the winner of Jack Whelan and Scott Gillespie. Jack Whelan currently 4-1 ahead. We'll see you back with the action, but as I say, we're going to go down and have a few words with the winner, Jon McAllister. Cheers, guys. Joined by Jon McAllister after that game. Jon, that was a high quality match. What was that like to play in?
Yeah, it was tough really because obviously he was breaking first, so I was always sort of the frame behind, so there was pressure for me to keep dishing straight after. I was just hoping to push on once I went 4-3 up, and then obviously I followed his drive break with mine, and then at 5-4 obviously I thought try and kick on again, and he's obviously pulled out 2 dishes after that, but yeah, just really happy to go over the line in the end.
I mean, that's a tough score. You've not missed a ball in that game. Gaz has missed one, and obviously if he makes a ball in that last frame, then he's favourite. To be fair, he said that the ball was going in, the cue ball was going in off, it got kicked in, but he went dry anyway.
Yeah, well, I did think it was going in from my side, so I was a bit frustrated, but then I was lucky he got come up dry. But yeah, obviously you just got to sort of hang in there. Yeah. You know, obviously after 3 all with 3 dishes each, you know someone's going to have a dry break eventually, so you just got to sort of be ready to take the chance when it does come. Yeah. And then luckily it went my way in the end. Yeah, so into the last 8 now, and I think you play the winner. I think it's Scott Gillespie and Jack Whelan. I think Jack's currently 4-1 up, so doesn't get any easier, does it? No, it's obviously from the last 64-1 to 8. You're always going to have tough games in a tournament like this. You just got to kick on. I know for a fact I probably can't keep that performance up. You just got to sort of hope you get a few more chances. Yeah. You just got to see how it goes.
How are you finding the rules? Because you're not native to all rules, are you?
No, obviously in a game like that they don't really come into it, do they? No. So that's what you got to hope when you're playing the top players and getting later into the event. The rules don't come into it too much. I think it is like a key aspect. Obviously 6-5 down there, I've sort of tactically won that frame, even though I played one safety shot. But it's it's obviously a big swing in these matches, in these tight matches, really.
Just looking at your game, Jon, you look like you're on top form. Obviously, still current world champion. Where do you find that form from? Because it was a long period over lockdown where we weren't playing. Were you still practicing at home?
Not necessarily. I was only in the last few months, once the tournaments have started coming up again. I put a bit more effort in for this month and tours coming up like the next few months as well. But yeah, before then I didn't really have the effort to put in. Having a few back problems as well, they seem to have gone away. So I'm just putting a lot more effort in really. And my game was there, but you sort of just weren't getting that little bit of luck. I think because I put a bit more effort in, I'm starting to get that little touch of fortune as well, so that does help.
Jon, great to see you in the last 8. Let's hope you can go all the way. Yeah. See you in the final, eh? Cheers, mate. Thank you.
please. Table 8, please. WRPT, please.